If you would, drop in the chat where you are from. Where are you dialing in from? Oh, thank you, Francis. You're so sweet. I cannot see you. No, Caitlin, I cannot see you. I love you for asking, though. So hi from Albuquerque, Cleveland, Florida, Athens, Fort Worth, Seattle, Columbia, Richmond, Houston, awesome, Oakland. Hey, y'all, what's up? Georgia represent. Oregon, awesome. I'm so glad to see y'all. I'm so glad that you're here. Okay, so without further delay, let's get into this. I am really glad that you are here. Please know I'm gonna cuss a lot. Fuck is my favorite word. So if that's gonna be an issue for you, please plug in some earbuds. You got little ears running around, or just be prepared. It's gonna get spicy. And to me, this class is so important, and I'm so passionate about this. And I could literally talk about this all day long, but I've simplified to make it just what's the most important things that you need to know, so that you walk away knowing exactly what you need to focus on to get more done in less time, so that your 2020 goals are done by the end of the year with less stress and more confidence. So in case you don't know me, I'm Melanie Childers. I have a master's degree in education, adult education, and I'm a master certified coach. I've been coaching for 5 years, so I know your brains really well. And I teach a badass feminists just like you how to achieve their dreams without all the hustling, so that you can have a greater impact on the world and change the fucking world. Because frankly, we need more women making more money in leadership in every area and at every level: government, corporate, private businesses, entrepreneurship, all of those. And I've worked with hundreds of women on what I'm going to teach you today, from elected officials to folks just starting a side gig. And I've helped a lot of my clients successfully use this process to create things like Serena's $30,000 a month in her new business, to Jenny getting her book done, to webinars, courses created, and new online virtual offerings, pivoting brick and mortar businesses to online. I've helped women get elected. And the main thing that we focus on is to have more focus in the time that they are doing their things and managing their brain, so that their nights and their weekends are for them and they don't feel like they're ping-ponging and distracted all the time. So that's really why I created this masterclass, because so many clients come to me and they have huge dreams, building an empire, getting promoted, getting their creative work out there, making a fuck ton of money, getting elected, but they are hustling, overworking, stressed out, worn out, and putting so much pressure on making their dreams happen, and then beating themselves up when things don't work the way that they thought they would. They find themselves procrastinating, distracting themselves, trying to do everything perfectly, doubting their abilities and doubting themselves and who they think they are. And even when they get to success, they're up all night worrying that it's not sustainable, that they're going to have to work extra hard all the time, or that people will find out that they're not really good enough, that it was all a lie, that they're a fraud, and they're exhausted. So you are in the right place. If you want to create more peace and get more out of your time, so that you reach every goal that you ever set and make all of your dreams happen without all of this internal bullshit. So we can take over the fucking world. And that to me is like why I'm so invested in my clients' successes and in your successes, because your success is our success. And every single one of you making a difference in the world makes a difference for every human out there. All the women, all the gender neutral and fluid people, all of us, when we all stand up and lead, we lead the way for everybody else. So that's what I want you to start thinking about, and pop it in the chat. Let's go through this. I really want you to think about, what is your goal? What is your dream? What is the vision you have for yourself, your life, your family? What is the impact that you want to have in the world? Do you want little girls and boys looking up to you, kids looking up to you at the example that you set? Do you want to dismantle the patriarchy with a book or a course or an offering? or a TED Talk? Do you want to get elected and change some laws? Do you want to just show your own kids what it looks like for women to make a lot of money and be successful and be ambitious in the world? Because no matter where you are or what your dream is, we're going to get you back to the basics and get you taking action in an inspired way to get you what you want. So make sure that you have a pen, a notebook, a handy drink. What are your goals? What is the impact that you want to have? Pop them in the chat. Yes, Kim, I want to show my daughter what choices look like for a woman. Yeah, because you work from home and run your own business, right, Kim? That's awesome. Amazing. Yeah, so I've used what I am about to teach you to create a multiple six-figure business in just 18 months. Oh, Ellen, I want to get my podcast off the ground. Hell yes. We need you. We need your voice. So in 2018, I made $20,000 in my coaching business and I was working a full-time job. In 2019, I was working 3 jobs and making my coaching business happen and truly hustling to go from 20K to 100K last year. And I'm on track to do twice that this year or more. And what I've learned in that process and toward my next goals is exactly what I'm going to teach you. And I've done it in similar circumstances to you. So if you don't know me, I'm a cancer survivor. I have ongoing health issues. Last year, my boyfriend, his job was uncertain. They were like, we're going to lay you off, but we might create a position, but maybe there's a position over here. So there was a lot of uncertainty about our finances and about his job. And at the same time, he was going through a chronic, agonizing health crisis. And again, last year I was working 3 jobs. There was a lot of family stress from, hey, politics and family health. And then of course, the rest of the world is happening. There's chaos in electoral politics. There's social unrest. There's a pandemic, right? So I'm going through all the same things as you, similar things, right? And 5 years ago, I was bankrupt and broke and living on my best friend's couch with no job and no money. And I had this unstoppable, I'm trying to find the right words, like intrusive, unstoppable thought about my worthlessness, that I wasn't ever going to be anything different, that I did this to myself and this is what was going to happen to me. This is what the rest of my life was going to look like. And it was always going to be terrible. And I was really depressed and frankly, suicidal. And getting myself out of that took a lot of work because I was the queen of procrastination and then hustling. And I hated planning or doing anything in any structured way. So I would set goals and immediately quit them. Like, yeah, that's nice. That's never going to happen. And once I got a job and got back on my feet, and I created this like side hustle, this online magazine for breast cancer survivors, and I was working into the nights and the weekends, hustling to make that thing go, to get it up. I built the entire website by myself and to get it all working and making it happen. And I dealt with a lot of perfectionism and definitely the procrastination, which is why I was working so long, and so much self-doubt. So no matter what your situation is or what you have been through or are going through, this process will work for you if you work it. So my clients, when they come to me, they have huge dreams and goals, but they are not getting it done. And they have a lot of reasons. But the number one complaint is that there is not enough time. And what they'll say to me is that, literally words out of their mouths, the kids are driving me nuts. My partner is constantly interrupting me. The boss won't stop emailing me. How many of these apply to you? The world is just a shit show. My goal or task is just too hard, too big, too overwhelming. It's going to take too long. How many of y'all identify with these? Drop a yes in the chat. I know y'all do. All of them, Kristen. Yes, Deborah. Yes, Francis. Yes, some of them, absolutely. So what ends up happening when this is our story about time is that we end up saying yes to all of those distractions. We say yes to the kids, we say yes to the boss, we say yes to our phone and the news. We work twice as hard and fast, we overschedule ourselves. We end up doing everybody's just real quick tasks, right? We respond to every ping and every distraction, from our phone to the internet to social media. We end up trying to be Wonder Woman, trying to do it all and trying to do it all perfectly. I know y'all are out there. But what really truly happens is that your goals and your dreams and you as the most important piece of your world, because you are attached to your brain and your brain is doing all of this and handling all of the things, you get pushed to the end of your calendar. You get pushed to the end of the schedule. All of your goals, all of your dreams, your self-care time, all of it gets pushed to the end. All of this other shit comes first. Kim says, I'm feeling too seen. We've only just begun. So there's a reason for this. And it is because the patriarchy has created, we live in a culture that perpetuates this myth that only white, straight men are valuable, important, and worthy. And it's like it's created this box that's tiny, of course, that we are supposed to function in to be good enough. And then our brains are swimming in that water and internalizing those messages. So there's this tiny box, and I made it small on purpose, that we're supposed to fit in to be good enough. And we have absorbed all of this unconsciously, and we use it to measure ourselves against. So we're told, be productive. Caitlin, fuck the box, right? Be productive. You're only good enough if you are really productive and you produce. Be perfect. Be accommodating. Make everybody else happy. Make sure to get the coffee and the tea and the clean up and take the meeting notes. Make sure everybody's pleased. We end up caretaking everybody, being nice and polite. Don't be too ambitious, right? Because the opposite is that. You can't be too smart, too loud, too big, too ambitious, too assertive, too demanding, too confident, too sexy, too powerful. There's this tiny box we're supposed to live in. And these messages are everywhere, not just from other people, but from society, magazines. Everything has this message attached for the most part. It's getting a little better, but it's still out there, it's pervasive. So with every criticism, every judgment, every condescending word, every time your ideas are dismissed and then picked up by a man and approved of, happened to y'all? Every time you're passed over for a promotion or a job, every time you're excluded from the club or invites, every time that you're told that you or other women are not good enough or you're too much, it all feels like it is not safe to be who you are. And so we absorb all of these messages. And what we end up doing is responding, taking on all of those thoughts and other people's opinions and the system's ideas that we are not enough, and we respond. And we create stress defense responses. Some people call them trauma responses, some people call them fight or flight, but ultimately it is these responses that happen in our brains to the culture that we live in. And so some of y'all might do all of these, some of you might do some of them. Some of these are a little bit fluid depending on who you are. So the 4 are fight. So our fighters are going to blame other people. They're going to get very in the weeds with work. They're going to hustle and work really, really hard. They're going to compete with other people. They're going to get mad at other people and blame other people for why they can't get their work done, right? They're going to compete with other people, either in the task or at work or on the way to a goal or in the boardroom or at work, right? And then our flight folks are going to procrastinate. They're going to put off the work because they feel so uncomfortable that avoiding that feeling is what gets prioritized in the moment. So they procrastinate because they're really uncomfortable. They self-sabotage, or they'll be so afraid of success that they stop themselves, or they'll be so afraid of failure that they don't ever start anything. And I had a client who had this fear of success issue last year. She made a lot of money, and as soon as it would come in the door, it would go out the door. And she would go from, oh my God, I'm so flush, to, oh my God, I'm going to starve if I don't make money again. And we fix that by learning to sit with and just have the money and get comfortable with the money. But the reason she was afraid is because it made her feel so uncomfortable. So that she would just get rid of all of it. And the same thing with another client with a fear of failure. She was working on filming a talk and would write out exactly what she wanted to do, but then wouldn't share with the group, the 90 Days to Done group in the last group, because she was afraid of the feedback, because she would beat herself up so much and she would take the feedback as failure. And so she decided, well, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna practice. I'm not gonna submit. I'm not gonna ask for feedback because I'm so afraid of what they'll think of me and what I'll think of myself. The next response is to freeze. And this is where we don't even let ourselves dream big. Or like me, I would set a goal and then immediately give up. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna do that. That's gonna be too hard. And deliberately choose to stay small and to stay safe. And the last one is the fawn. Some of y'all have heard of this. Caitlin, I know that you know this one well because of what you teach. And the fawn response is when we literally try to make sure that everyone is happy so that we can control their responses. So we try to control what other people are going to think about us by being perfect, by putting on confidence and then having this crippling imposter syndrome, by people pleasing. So then what happens? Do y'all resonate? Any of these? Which one do you think you are? Yeah, Caitlin, fawn mode, hardcore over here. Definitely eldest daughter syndrome. Me too. Isn't that funny? Yeah. What do you guys identify with? Fight, fawn, and hustle? Flight for sure. Flight, freeze, fawn, fuck. Yep. Flight, Darcy. You're like all of them, fuck. Yeah, all of them for sure. Yeah, fight, fleet, freeze, fawn. Fawn, I can't say they're all F words. They're not my favorite F words. So what ends up happening? Yeah, fight, freeze. Okay, awesome. So what's truly happened is that you've just adapted to a culture that sees you as worth less than straight white men. Here's what I have to say to you. There's nothing fucking wrong with you. You've adapted to a culture that sees you as less than. That's all. You just internalized all of that stuff and created all of these responses like they're coded to what could happen if you step outside of the patriarchy's box. And every time that we are aiming for something that feels uncomfortable or that we've societally been told that we shouldn't be or can't have, we go into these stress responses. So what this creates for you is what I have called, this concept I've come up with called the hustle cycle. And we all start, even at the highest levels, with this underlying self-doubt. Even once you have the PhD, even once you're the CEO, even once you are as successful as you want to be, the self-doubt always here because of the external messages and the way that we've internalized them. So we all start with the self-doubt. And our freeze folks, this is where they stop. They go, oh my God, I can't even do that. Going after a goal, going after a big project, doing something outside of my comfort zone. I can't. Let me just stop right here. And then what happens is that we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. So we doubt ourselves, and then we put a lot of pressure to perform. and approve and to do it all and be good enough. And this is where our flighters run away. They cannot handle the pressure that they put on themselves. And so to avoid, they procrastinate. And they sometimes just walk away entirely. So sometimes our freezers will stop here too, because of what they're telling themselves and how terrible they feel in the pressure. And then we get to work, and we work our asses off, and we take a lot of action. And this is where our fighters and our fawners fall a little bit apart. The fighters will get in the weeds with the tasks, and the fawners will do the same. Let me perfect. Let me make this absolutely perfect. Let me spend a lot of time here making sure that no one can ever have any criticism about what I have to say or what I have to do. And our fighters will get here and try to fight their way through the hustle and try to work really hard and overwork and get mad at other people who are in the way. And then what happens? We all circle back. Our procrastinators, once they've procrastinated until they can't anymore, then they enter the hustle phase. And then we all come here and beat ourselves up for not being good enough, not being perfect enough, not being fast enough, taking too much time, working too hard, never quite being good enough. And we beat ourselves up. And then what happens is that we're fucking exhausted because we've spent so much time doubting ourselves, so much time putting pressure on ourselves, so much time working our asses off, twice as hard to be just as good, so much effort and energy beating ourselves up in the process, and all of this happening in here, you're fucking exhausted. And what that creates for you is more self-doubt that you can ever have what you want, because this is the cycle that you keep putting yourself through. And why would you want to go after anything else after an experience like this? If that's all that there is, and you're always going to be working super hard, you're always going to be exhausted, why would you ever go after anything else? And so the cycle repeats itself, because at some point you will decide that you want something else. But this is the only cycle that most of us know. So where do you find yourself in this cycle? Where do you get lost? Do you get lost in the self-doubt? Do you get lost in the pressure or the hustle or the beating yourself up? Sarah, I skip hustle and go straight to admonishing myself. Yes, unless I have a clear deadline. Yes. Yeah, this belief that we only work well under pressure, also part of this, right? Hustle, burnout, beating myself up, pressure. Depends. Yeah, totally. So down the line, what this really creates for you is spending a lot of your time in here, beating yourself up, avoiding, so that you don't value your own time. And so it's so much easier to just, let me just handle this person's one thing, because I'm not going to get my thing done, and I'm going to beat myself up, and it'll never be perfect. So let me just handle the kids. Let me just go to the grocery store, or let me just respond to this email. And again, more self-doubt, because if that cycle, the hustle cycle, is what it looks like, you don't ever build more belief in your capability and in yourself. You just keep creating the wheel and keep destroying your own confidence and your own belief. And what that gets you is inconsistent results. So it will look like starting a really awesome, great goal that you really want and giving up. It will look like getting to the first hurdle and thinking, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I give up. Or getting past 3 hurdles, getting almost to the finish line and being like, I'm just going to coast. Whatever. This wasn't really possible. I'm not really sure I deserve this. I'm not really sure I get to have this. I hear that a lot from women. I'm not really sure I deserve this. I'm not really sure I can have it. So we get inconsistent results. So most people try to fix this in a myriad different ways. Most people try to fix it with either working harder or faster or more, which creates more pressure and more hustle. Some folks, if you're like me, I'd love to know which one of these you are. You buy more planners and more notebooks and more productivity apps or project management apps, or you get lost making habit trackers or playing in your bullet journal. used to waste a lot of time creating the perfect outline for the month in my bullet journal, and then I would put it down and never go back to it. But it was a very noble obstacle, very noble goal. I'm gonna do this just right and it's gonna be perfect and amazing. And then I did nothing with it. What these create are more pressure, because now you have a tracking system that's watching you not do it every day. Ashley, oh my God, the bullet journal. Yes, new planners, new notebooks. Yes, absolutely. And then some of these, this is really sneaky. Some of us use lots of self-care. But what actually happens, because we're not managing our brains and all the self-doubt and all of the hustle that's happening in here, is that you go to take time off and you go to take care of yourself. You take a bath, you take a nap, you read a book, you take the afternoon off. Your brain is still in here like, look at all the shit you're not doing. You should be doing that over there. You have a whole to-do list. You should do all of those things first before you enjoy your time. And your brain is still harassing you and creating more pressure and more anxiety. Yes, Karen, I always feel like my life problems can be solved with a trip to the office supply store. Girl, new planners and pens and highlighters and my day is made. I feel you. Yes, find a lot of things to distract myself. Absolutely. So here's the problem with all of those tips and tricks and strategies is that they don't take your brain into account. They do not address the most valuable asset that you have for getting your stuff done, which is your brain. The patriarchy wants you to be focused outside of yourself so that you don't have access to your power, because the most fearsome thing to them is a woman who knows her power and what she wants and who is not doubting her ability to get it and is not perfecting and procrastinating her time away. So if you are always doubting or trying to prove, trying to keep everybody else happy, you actually end up staying disconnected from your own power and your own ability to get shit done. So what's really important is what you think about yourself, your time, I have hair, I think, and your goals and your dreams and plans. So the most important thing in this whole talk is truly not what's happening in the outside world, not the notebooks, not all of the ways that you could perfect and procrastinate and make things awesome. But it truly comes down to what you think about yourself, what you think about time itself. Is it on your side, or do you never have enough? You're always running out. And what you think about where you want to go, your goal, your plan, the task at hand. And I wanted to give you a little sneak peek into the way that I think about goals and plans and what's possible for me. Because I used to be in this hustle cycle with everybody else, always constantly self-doubting, always procrastinating, always perfecting. Nothing was ever good enough. I would not have been able to put this class together a year ago. Well, I would have, but I would be exhausted by the end, hustling the whole way. And my VA reached out to me yesterday and she was like, is this the most chill launch ever? Or are you okay? Are you doing it all? Or is this just chill? And I'm like, no, I'm gonna just chill. We're good. So share with some of my thoughts about the way that I plan and what I think about myself and my time is that I can plan without pressuring myself. I am smart, capable, and resourceful. I want you to take some of these on and adopt them for yourself. The time works for me. That I believe I can manipulate time. Have you ever been in they call it a flow state? That's like you're so present and so focused that time slows down. Yes, love flow, absolutely. Time slows down. But when you are stressed out and freaked out and hustling and racing around the house, it feels like time speeds up. And so I always choose to think that time works for me. And when it comes to my goals and plans and dreams, it might be easier than I think. And that has actually made this year so easy. And even this class, so easy. It might be easier than I think. And one of my favorites is that I can have my own back. I can trust myself, even in the shit show. even when there's a pandemic, even when there's social unrest, even when there's electoral political chaos, I can manage my shit. I can trust myself. I can get done the things that I care the most about so that my goals get done, even while that shit's happening. It doesn't mean I don't care about those things, but I don't let my focus on them or feeling exhausted by them control the way that I show up to myself every day. Okay, so how do we undo all of this? If our mission is to undo the patriarchy system on the whole, it has to start from within, which means we have to go about our goals and dreams in a different way that serves us and fills us instead of depleting and exhausting us and staying in the hustle cycle. And the way that we do this is the formula that I have come up with called the Get Shit Done formula. And what it looks like is planning plus self-trust times consistency equals everything you want gets done. No more hustle cycle. So let's get into this. I'm going to say it again and hold here so you can write it down. So planning plus self-trust times consistency equals goals and dreams done. So let's dive into each one of these pieces so that you really understand what I mean. So planning really comes with, we start with your free, your rest, and your fun time first. So when I go about my day and about scheduling my week, that shit goes on the calendar first, period. We're told we're not supposed to have fun, especially when it comes to going after goals, right? Not supposed to be fun. But I always put these things on my calendar first, and then I honor the shit out of them, okay? And then planning also requires you to honor you as the asset. And what I mean by that is that we are honoring who you are and what you need in the moment and in tomorrow's moments. So if you're a writer and you want to, say, write 2 hours tomorrow, but you know at the end of that writing block, you're going to need a walk and something to drink, maybe a snack, maybe even a nap. We put that on the calendar too, so that your brain gets done what needs to be done and your body gets the rest and relaxation that you also need in order to keep going. Then we also go through figuring out what your hustle cycle looks like for you personally, where you fall in the stress response, how you pull yourself out, so that we are solving all of that for you. You are solving it with compassion to learn what works for me, what doesn't work for me, instead of giving up or hustling. So we are finding and solving for all your stress responses and exactly what they look like in your life and planning for them. Oh, I know that if I'm going to do this task, it's going to stress my brain out and I might want to procrastinate. How do I want to plan for that? How do I want to treat myself when that happens? Will I be nice to myself? Will I get myself back on track gently and with love? And then we also want to be at breaking tasks into tiny bites. So your calendar should have free fun time, focus time first, then what needs to get done, and breaking it into the tiniest pieces so that your brain gets excited to do it. It's small, easy, and doable. And you know, okay, I can focus for 15 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 30, whatever works exactly for you. And then you're going to add fun to each one of them so that your brain gets the reward of, yay, I did the thing and it was fun doing it. Oh my gosh, I can do things and make it fun for myself. It doesn't have to suck. It doesn't have to feel like pressure. It doesn't have to feel like work all the time. So the next piece is building and creating self-trust. And what that truly looks like is finding all the reasons that you want the goal or the plan and valuing those reasons, like getting really deep into why do I want to do this thing? What will I get at the end of it? Who will I be? What impact will I have? So that when your brain wants to distract itself or you want to make it perfect, you come back to the why so that you are grounded deeply in and more motivated and committed. And so that you will do what's on your plan, because doing what's on your plan creates more self-trust. This is really about honoring the word that you made to yourself when you put something on your calendar. I treat those things as a promise, not as something like I'm going to pressure myself with, but as, okay, I'm promising that I'm going to do this thing, and I trust tomorrow's me to be able to do it because I've planned with enough time that tomorrow's me is really grateful that I put those 2 hours of writing on my calendar, and then I made space for what I needed after that, whatever that looks like. Because we want to be honoring future you and be able to trust past you, so that this planning and self-trust cycle truly creates like this two-way trust with your current self, your future self, your past self. So I guess that's three. This like cycle of trust that all the parts of you can trust yourself to do what's on your calendar without beating you up, and being kind and nice to you forwards and backwards. And the key component here, again, is compassion, is being nice to yourself, because you're going to make plans and you're going to fuck them up. And you should. You're supposed to, so that you can learn what works and what doesn't. And the key component is to be nice to yourself when you do, so that you create more momentum, you create more trust, you can create more consistency and commitment. So that you can create whatever the fuck you want and be more consistent. And consistent truly looks like evaluating what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and what you want to do different every week. So I plan out my whole week every week. I plan for failure. I plan to be nice to myself when I fail. I plan with my free and focused time first, and then I evaluate. Did this work for me? Where did my brain go into self-doubt? Where did I procrastinate? Where did I try to perfect? Where did I beat myself up and I forgot or didn't mean to? Or where was I not as successful as I could have been? So that I'm constantly making progress toward getting goals done. And then I'm also retraining those responses, those stress responses, because they're automatic at this point and they're never truly going to go away. But we can catch them and then start to talk to ourselves a little bit differently once we know exactly what they are. Because all of this puts you in charge of your time, in charge of your plans, in charge of your dreams and goals, and in charge of your whole fucking day and your whole fucking life. So that you create more confidence, more commitment, more trust, and more fucking peace. And we get to smash the shit out of the patriarchy. So what does it look like to apply the formula? So I told you a little bit about it. Okay, sorry, cat freaking out. So applying the formula in your daily life looks like: plan your week, free and focused time first, small, fun tasks. Plan for the fact that there's going to be a part of you that resists the plan, and it will be imperfect. Commit. Know your whys. Value your word to yourself in the moment over the urge of the instant gratification of avoiding or perfecting, procrastinating. Because that's really what happens in our brain. Like, I'll hear my brain do it all the time. I'll be like, oh, okay, I'm working on this thing. And my brain will be like, yeah, this is hard. Maybe you should like get a snack. And I'm like, oh yeah, a snack will make this better. And I find myself in the pantry and I'm like, hold on, how did I get here? I'm not actually hungry. What's happening? Oh, I got uncomfortable. Okay, let's go back. So that I know that I'm committed, and I also know my brain is sometimes going to try to take me off track. But I know exactly what to do to recommit in the moment and bring my attention back to what I want to focus on. It builds so much self-trust when you can have this conversation with yourself. And truly, at the end of the day, you become a fucking badass who believes in her power and slays all the patriarchy bullshit happening inside, so you create consistent results. Darcy, oh my God, sitting through the discomfort actually gets stuff done. Yes, 100%. There is no part of anything in my day, hardly, that is not a little bit uncomfortable. But I've learned to sit with the discomfort. And I think that truly is one of the keys to getting what you want in the world. And I use this analogy a lot, but it happens like when I'm cycling. So I've been cycling for, I think, 37 straight weeks now, which is consistent as fuck, more consistent than I've ever been in my entire life. And there are days when I don't want to do it. There are days when I'm on the bike and I'm like, but I'm done, I'm tired, I don't feel like it anymore. Or I don't want to do it at all. And this process of sitting with the discomfort of, yep, it sucks, yep, it's hard, yep, it's uncomfortable, but I'm committed and I'm showing up and I'm getting it done, and I'm just going to sit here and not do anything to try to get away from the discomfort. That has been what's gotten me through 37 weeks of cycling, 25 pounds lost, 200K this year, 100K last year. That is the key. Darcy, you're so on it. To everything. And here's what you'll create. Once you have applied this formula in your life, more done in less time, more pleasure and free time too, more peace and fun and confidence, more trust and motivation that you've created for yourself, more commitment to what you want to create in your life. Goals, done. Success, done. And I want to tell you, this success, you can't have a giant pile of success without a giant, almost equal pile of failures. So the willingness to sit through the discomfort of failing and not beating yourself up, the willingness to sit through the discomfort of doing a thing that feels just not great, is the key to everything. You'll create more success, more money, because that's really what happens. All of my clients end up making more money. I'm not a money coach. They all end up making more money. You will create consistent, focused, massive, huge action in your life, and frankly, whatever the fuck you want, while smashing the inner patriarchy in here, constantly telling you that you're not good enough. So what this really, really creates for you is growing your own self-worth, your own love, your own respect, and your own trust and confidence to be this unstoppable force for changing the world. I hope you enjoyed the class. If this information completely blew your mind, you want to sign up to get more support and to apply this work in your life. So you have two options to do that. The first is to join the mastermind. The first thing we'll do in the mastermind is deprogram all of the internal patriarchy in your mind, what I call basic bitch mentality. So we will undo all of the self-doubt, all of the ways that you don't trust yourself, and we will spend 6 months installing bad bitch mentality so that you are confident, trusting yourself, owning every room that you walk into, burning shit down to the ground, just feeling inspired and amazing and motivated and able to set any goal and reach it. So that you get out of the hustle cycle and the stress response cycle, and you're able to apply and really work the get shit done formula so that you trust yourself, you make plans, and you execute consistently. We'll also create your own internal bitch squad so that you are always your own best cheerleader and your own accountability buddy. And your internal bitch squad includes boundaries, the way that you talk to yourself, self-trust, compassion, and honoring your time, your needs, your values, and you as the asset of your life, of everything that you're creating in the world. And then the second thing that we will do is create a process that works for you so that you get stuff done without hustling, without burning yourself out, and without all the have-tos. So we'll create a process together that works specifically for your brain to plan and reach every goal that you ever set for yourself, and you cross the finish line sprinting because you want to, not because you have to. Then the third thing that we're going to do in the group is change your relationship with time, money, and success to do things in a shorter amount of time so that you are feeling really confident and owning all of the success you've already had, and so that you are capable of creating more time, more money, more success for your whole entire life. And so that you become the leader that you would want to work for and that you would want to follow. So the mastermind is for you if you want to get really good at planning your time, honoring your word to yourself, being your own accountability buddy and your own cheerleader, having your own internal bitch squad, and you are ready to put gas on the fire of your success. So bring your big, audacious goals. This is the room you want to be in. Your second option is to do all of that one-on-one with me, so that you have my brain on your very specific situations, your very specific thinking, all of the ways that you think that you are a unique unicorn, and you would like more one-on-one specific support. So you want to pop over and schedule a call there, or sign up for the mastermind. I'll see you soon. Bye.